UK deploys combat-proven Rapid Sentry air defense system to Kuwait to counter drone threats in the Gulf. The decision comes as Gulf states face sustained attacks on infrastructure, military sites, and shipping routes, with London seeking to protect both British and Kuwaiti interests without widening the conflict. More than a routine force protection measure, the deployment places a combat-validated British counter-drone capability directly into one of the region's most exposed air defense environments. The immediate trigger is clear. Kuwait has become part of a broader battlespace in which Iranian missile and one-way attack drone activity is no longer confined to symbolic signaling, but is affecting energy infrastructure, allied military footprints, and the security architecture surrounding the Strait of Hormuz. Reuters reported that Prime Minister Keir Starmer discussed the deployment with Crown Prince Sabah Al Khalid Al Sabah and framed the move as a measure to protect Kuwaiti and British personnel and interests while avoiding escalation into a wider war. That balance is central to understanding the deployment. London is not announcing a large expeditionary reinforcement, but rather inserting a mobile short-range air defense asset designed for the exact class of threat now proliferating across the Gulf: low-flying, relatively low-cost unmanned systems that can impose outsized strategic pressure if left unanswered. Rapid Sentry is significant because it is not being introduced as a theoretical or experimental response to drone warfare. According to the UK Ministry of Defence and the Royal Air Force, the system has already been used in a layered defensive architecture that combines early warning sensors, electronic warfare, and hard-kill interceptors, enabling RAF regiment personnel in the Middle East to shoot down multiple Iranian drones. Army Recognition's latest report underlined that this amounted to combat validation against Iranian one-way attack drones, with the system emerging as the decisive hard-kill layer once hostile targets had survived detection and disruption. That operational pedigree is crucial. In the current threat environment, credibility belongs less to brochure specifications than to systems that have already functioned under pressure against real targets. The missile at the heart of the system is the Lightweight Multi-Role Missile, or LMM, manufactured by Thales UK in Belfast. Official British and industry material describes the LMM as a laser beam-riding missile optimized for low collateral damage and short-range engagements, with an operational range of more than 6 kilometers, a velocity of more than Mach 1.5, and a lightweight design suited to deployment across land, sea, and air platforms. In practical terms, that gives Rapid Sentry an important place in modern force protection. It is not meant to replace high-end area defense networks built to counter ballistic missiles or high-performance aircraft, but to fill the increasingly critical lower tier of the air defense battle, defeating drones, loitering threats, and other low-altitude aerial targets before they can strike air bases, logistics hubs, command posts, or oil infrastructure. Kuwait is a particularly relevant destination for such a capability. The RAF states that the regiment has maintained a long-standing presence there since the 1990 Gulf conflict, with 34 Squadron RAF Regiment operating across Iraq, Kuwait, and Cyprus, while also supporting training relationships with local forces, including the Kuwait National Guard. This means the deployment is not occurring in a vacuum. It builds on an established British footprint, pre-existing force protection responsibilities, and an enduring bilateral defense relationship. That lowers the political and military friction normally associated with introducing a foreign air defense asset, and it also increases the likelihood that Rapid Sentry will be integrated not only as a shield for UK personnel, but also as a practical enabler of Kuwaiti air defense resilience. The larger British posture in the Gulf gives the move even greater significance. The Ministry of Defense said this week that Rapid Sentry has arrived in Kuwait while the RAF's Orca system is also operating there to detect drones early, that a lightweight multi-role launcher has been sent to Bahrain with UK experts for integration, and that Sky Sabre will be deployed to Saudi Arabia with radars, a control node, and missile launchers. At the same time, UK Typhoons have continued defensive missions from Qatar and other regional locations, and London has linked these measures to protecting allies, defending shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, and preventing further regional destabilization. These are not isolated deployments, but the outline of a distributed British contribution to Gulf air and missile defense, calibrated below the threshold of offensive intervention, yet substantial enough to shape the regional security picture. there is also an industrial and doctrinal message behind the announcement. British officials have paired the Kuwait deployment with plans to procure additional LMM stocks for UK forces and regional partners, while highlighting the missile's UK production base and the role of Task Force Sabre in accelerating support to Gulf states. This is important because the drone age is exposing a hard truth for Western militaries. Expensive strategic air defense systems alone cannot economically absorb repeated salvos of cheaper unmanned threats. What is needed is a layered structure in which sensors, electronic warfare, and comparatively lower-cost short-range interceptors work together at scale. By deploying Rapid Sentry after its reported combat success, Britain is effectively presenting it not only as a national force protection asset, but also as a deployable, exportable answer to the mass drone problem that now confronts states from the Levant to the Gulf. The deployment of Rapid Sentry to Kuwait signals more than solidarity following a drone strike. It shows that the United Kingdom is translating recent combat lessons into regional posture, placing a proven counter-drone system where the threat is immediate and strategically consequential. For Kuwait, it strengthens the lower layer of air defense at a time when energy infrastructure and national resilience are under pressure. For Britain, it marks a sharper fusion of operational necessity, industrial signaling, and Gulf security policy. In a region where a single low-cost drone can trigger disproportionate military and economic effects, the value of Rapid Sentry lies not only in what it can shoot down, but also in the deterrent message its presence sends to any actor betting that the lower end of the air threat spectrum will remain undefended.